10 years ago, when I was at my job sitting in my ambulance, I would never have dreamed that I would put together this show about paramedics, let alone last for 5 seasons. I'm an EMT firefighter that, used to make some shows for a local cable access station. And I remember my TV wanted to put one of my shows on their network, but it would have been a copy nightmare. So I decided I wasn't going to do it, and they asked for other ideas, and I'm like, I got this idea about a documentary crew following these paramedics, and because there's so many funny things that happen on the job, and so many things that just make you go, wow, did that really just happen? So they asked me to do a pilot, and I'm like, geez, I have no idea. And I had somebody I knew push me into making it. It's like, come on, try it. And I'm like, okay, but I really don't know what I'm doing. So I wrote this script, and then I went to go find actors for it.
July 31st, 2010 is the email that I wrote to him to respond to the ad. So, going on 9 years.
And I put out a casting call on Craigslist, of all places.
And I went on the computer, started looking under Craigslist, under gigs and things like that. And it just stood out to me because it said Sandown, New Hampshire. And that's where I live. I'm like, what is this? And then I started reading the description. I'm like, this seems pretty cool. How is it in Sandown, New Hampshire? That doesn't even... So first I was questioning, but then I was intrigued. And I said, well, what do I have to lose? I'm going to shoot off a reply. But I didn't want to look as green as I was, so I built myself up a little bit like you think you're supposed to do. And basically named off everything that I had already done. And I got the reply about, when to meet and to audition.
And I remember holding auditions down at the fire department.
So I said, okay. Still, I was a little hesitant. So I had someone come with me because I wasn't quite sure of replying to a Craigslist ad.
I remember the first day we had the auditions, and I see this beautiful blonde with long flowing curly hair come walking in, and I was like, wow.
So I came to the fire station in Sandown, walked through the door, and there Sean was.
And I remembered she was exactly what I wanted, because when I wrote the Heather character, I envisioned it to be a blonde, because I always loved the shows back in the 80s, like The Fall Guy with Heather Thomas or Heather Locklear, and that's how I came up with the name.
And we talked for a bit. We talked for a while, actually, and I guess throughout all the talking, I never even auditioned. He's like, all right, we'll come back and we're going to start filming on this day. I'm like, okay. And I walked out thinking, wait, so I have it? I got it? This is how this works? I had no idea.
Anyways, after all the talking we did, I realized we never auditioned her. It was just like, hey, come back next Saturday and we'll, film a scene. Yeah, like I said, we never actually auditioned her.
And it took a few years to get going because there were so many, I guess, quirks and things that we had to work out. We'd start the project with certain people, and for whatever reason, they couldn't continue on with the project. So we'd have to start over again, and we'd have to do the same scenes with different people all over again. We'd do it like 2, 3, 4 times. Like I can name the scene where the guy gets his unit cut off. We've done that, I believe, 3 times. Yeah, we did that 3 times. But I mean, if you look at it in a positive way, each time it got better and better. But yeah, we've had, I don't know, 2, 3 or 4 Jenkins, a couple of Amy's. Yeah, I mean, Sean wasn't even supposed to be the chief. He was only going to be behind the camera. That's how the whole project was supposed to go. Well, in this line of work, I guess, doesn't always go how you think it's going to go. So the day we were supposed to start doing the chief scenes, that guy didn't show up, and everybody was here. So he's like, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. Yeah, way back, I remember getting together with all the guys at Loaf and Ladle, the fire station, and another building that we used to film out of for a little while. The same building we used for Madman Chronicles too, another film that we did together. And we'd sit around, we'd throw out ideas, get off track, you know, we'd have a couple beers or whatever. And it was just a bunch of people hanging out, having a fun time and being creative. And we'd go off on something and realize we're telling this story and write the ideas down and bounce them off of each other. I don't know. I laughed a lot. We laughed so many times. Those were some good moments, wonderful moments.
I remember some of our writing sessions. It would be me, Josh, and Frank, and we'd go to a tavern and have a few beers and start discussing, ideas for an episode.
My writing sessions with Sean were basically, let's get together and talk about this scene or that, and we work the bugs out of it over beers and try and make things work, or one scene go into another, I guess. So I mean that's how it basically worked. We'd end up coming up basically with as much new stuff as trying to figure out the stuff already written and making it work.
Wow, we came up with some crazy stuff. I think the more beers we had, the more crazier things were written down. But we would write these things, and then it's like, we're writing, it's like, you think this is too over the top? But, you know what, people always acted it out, and it was great.
Yeah. All you actors are crazy. You do this stuff, and we think it up, and we're like, they're not gonna do that. But sure enough, it's on film.
Like I said, Josh and I would sit there and shake our heads like, they're really doing this. And it was some great stuff. And the part we always comes to mind when we talk about it is like with Cheryl, I got ball blood in my mouth. That was the best.
Well, the most challenging thing working on Paragods was being outside the group of actors, because it was me, Sean, Frank, director, sound guy. Frank did multiple roles too. We all did multiple roles, but it was a small, there were other cameramen and people who helped out behind the scenes, but for the most part, the three of us were kind of the core group, and trying to make 40 people happy all day on a long day it wears on you, and I don't know how we got through it, but we did it. And I remember we'd be up at 6 a.m, me, you, and Frank, and we'd meet for breakfast, and it'd be like 7 or 8. And then we'd eat, we'd go to the station or wherever we were filming, we'd set all the shit up, go over all the shit, and nobody's there yet. We've been up since the ass crack of dawn. And then people start to show up, and then, you know, 16, 17 hours later at 3 in the morning, everybody's leaving, and we basically got maybe one slice of pizza out of the box of pizzas, you know. It sounds like I'm bitching, but I'm not. I mean, it's just like, it was an experience, but just saying, like, everybody would leave, we'd be like 24 hours into it, and we'd crack a beer, the 3 of us, and we'd be like soaked with sweat, and there'd be shit everywhere, you know? And we gotta pick all this stuff up and go home, and it'd be like the sun would be coming up, and it was like, I don't think the actors really knew how much time we invested in it, you know? But I'm not saying that as a dig, because they worked hard, they gave us their time. I'm just saying, God bless them all, but it was like, wow, it was a long day. And I don't think, like, Sean and Frank and them got enough credit for the time they put in. People don't realize how much work goes on the other side of the game. But I would never give it back for nothing. It was a blast.
I think I've learned a lot being on a series like this. You have to learn how to work the arc of a character throughout a season, and then from one season to the next. I mean, everyone grows or deteriorates, and you have to be able to illustrate that. So yeah, I definitely have learned how to do that. And I've also learned a lot, you know, when you're casting, how to match up a pool of good actors in a pool of roles. You know, you try not to waste someone really good on a small role when you know something bigger is coming an episode or 2 later. So, you know, I've learned how to do that as well. And certainly with the scheduling, I keep picking up a new trick every month, you know, how to make things work and keep the set fluid and, you know, get everything shot in time and people in and out. And, you know, I don't like to have people waiting around all day to you know, they got a 9 o'clock scene and a 3 o'clock scene. Now let's try to get them, you know, in and out so they don't have to hang around all day.
I didn't realize I was getting involved with the show. I kind of went just to hang out and kind of see what Mike's actors friends were like and get to know them and kind of be a fly on the wall. And I just kind of ended up either jumping in or someone asked me to help out and do something. And the more they gave me, the more I could do, and the more I had fun with it. So I don't know, it just kind of organically happened.
What was it like when we first started making Paragods? There was a lot of people around that aren't really around anymore. There was a lot of people that you know, did the early seasons, and there was a lot of this like sort of attitude of like, we didn't really know what it was that we were doing. And you know, you had people that had these pie in the sky dreams that like we were going to be on Comedy Central within 3 months and whatever. And most of the people that like really thought that they were going to be famous, it was tough for them. Then, you know, there was some other people that really kind of struggled with like how comedy was supposed to work and how it's kind of okay to be not looking cool when you're trying to be funny. And then like a lot of us struggled a lot with regards to trying to be too professional. Insofar as, you know, yelling action and cut and quiet on the set. And it took us a very long time to get into the rhythm where everybody was just really smooth together and really kind of started working as a team and knowing what the strengths and weaknesses of each of the people involved was. For me, it was tough because I had to do a lot of camera work in the beginning because I thought I was a camera guy and a director and a producer and a this and a that and every other thing. And so early on it was tough because I found myself not being able to take as much time as I wanted to prepare, so I'd get all stressed out before I had to be Chad. And that's not a good place to be when you're trying to be Chad.
I think when I watch other web series, each episode is 6 minutes long, at 10 at most. I mean, I've done short films that are 10 to 15 minutes, but You know, we were pretty damn ambitious. And we would write long stories. One episode, I think, was 49 minutes. We were a full-fledged show. I mean, you could have added commercials and we'd have filled an hour on network TV. I don't think you find that much with most web series. They're all, as I said, 6 to 10 minutes at most.
I learned a lot from doing this series. I wasn't really fully aware of what went on behind the scenes with EMTs and firefighters, despite the fact that I have a couple of friends, but they never really talk about it. So doing the show that was written by people who actually do this job was really enlightening.
I learned plenty. It's made me a better actor. Like I said earlier, doing the heavy comedy was something that was a little bit new to me, but I loved every millisecond of it. But there was plenty of serious happenings as well, so yes, I learned plenty.
It's been the biggest challenge, taking on the role, to not get lazy. One of the things I did learn filming is, as a stage performer, I know all my lines, try to know all my lines before I ever show up, but I've been finding it's really easy because of the way things are filmed to wait a little bit longer, to not have to get invested in the lines. That for me has been the biggest challenge, is just not getting lazy as time went on.
What I loved most was how we were able to try to tell a true story of how EMS works. I mean, some of the real-life EMS characters, Sean Allen does it professionally, and I got to give credit to them. It's a tough job. You learn a lot of funny things, but a lot of sad help is needed out in our planet. It's a pretty cool profession to be in.
I think my favorite thing about the show is that we're a family. I mean, we might fight. We do fight. But we're debating about how to get the best thing down on film, or get something done. And I think that it's a family you're not going to find often unless you get into a running series like this type of show. When you do films, it's you see everyone for a week or whatever, and that's it. But it's going on 5 years now. It's a family, and people have come, people have gone, but we have a good core that you look forward to every month that we shoot, of getting there and working things together and building something that's really cool.
I love that it's a family. I love that everyone brings their potluck. Someone's bringing a bean casserole. Someone's picking up, a case of water, or Dunkin' Donuts, or a veggie platter, that everyone kind of brings something to the table, but that we all genuinely care for each other and support each other and want to see each other do well. The other thing that I love about the show is that I got to see so many actors grow. I got to see so many of them be so engaged in a scene and really feed off of each other, that the energy that they gave each other back and forth was just really cool to witness and kind of be a part of, and I think that's a great aspect of the show.
What did I learn doing this series? Never do it again. No. I learned, it was my introduction to how it all goes down. I mean, all different people involved, actors, people behind the scenes, and it's a hell of a thing to go through. And I think people who just sit down on their living room couch and hit the remote and turn the TV on don't realize how many hours are put behind one scene. And actors and all the people running the equipment and the people organizing. That was amazing to me, like how much is involved in it. So I guess that's what I learned, that every time I watch a show on TV, I appreciate it that much more.
When I decided that this was the last season of Paragods, I also decided that I was going to make it the way it was always intended. And that was no over-the-top zany characters and real stupid things happening. I wanted to keep it realistic the way I intended. And I think that's what we achieved with season 5. And, you know, we didn't have to answer to anyone anymore, you know. We didn't have to answer to some producer out in LA and New York, you know, saying, here's this, you know, over-the-top character. No. We didn't have to listen to that anymore. We didn't, and we're not writing the show in hopes to be picked up. We're writing the show because, and we're doing the show because we love it, we have fun. We've grown to love all these characters. And I think we wanted to do justice by these characters, and yeah, and I think we've done
it. The last season, when it was determined that this is going to be it, kind of let off a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations, and allowed us just to do what we wanted. And we didn't have to prove anything to anybody or try and get somebody to like it. We were doing this last series for us, and that's what it's always been about since the very beginning. So I know I'm going to get really emotional when I watch it.
2 years ago, I was diagnosed with a rare form of rheumatoid arthritis that basically doesn't give me much time left, as I would hope anyways. Basically it's deteriorating my body, and I'm not going to be able to do this much longer. And I realize, you know, after season 4, how hard it was to basically do 12-hour days and be standing, and it just became more and more difficult with each episode we'd film, that I decided I couldn't do it anymore. So that's when I said season 5 would be our last. And it was tough to do. It kills me to say that I'm not going to do Paragods anymore, because Paragods is my life. It's been my life for 9 years. And I think the hardest part is the people that I've grown to. I think the hardest part is the people that have grown to be my family is, you know, gonna disband, and, you know, who knows when we'll see each other. And I'm gonna miss those, you know, 6 Saturdays of the year where we all get together and we make some great things happen on film. I'm gonna miss that.
I was like, what the f***? I mean, selfishly, I wanted it to keep going because I kind of feel like I was just getting my feet wet. And I was like, this is a lot of fun, and it seems to be adding a lot of value to the crew and the operation. But I mean, at the same time, I understand, like, you know, people want to work on other projects, and a lot of times, you know, projects run their life. And I think that if anything, it's ending on a really good note.
I know he's done it a long time, and I think he's happy with what he got out of it. I think he would have liked for it to be picked up by somebody, but I don't think he'd give any of it back for anything. I think the time I spent with it, I laughed my ass off, and it was surprised we got anything done. We were laughing too much, and I think he probably feels the same way. So,
when Sean told me about his disease and his health, I was nervous about it. I mean, he's been my best friend since 2001, since I moved out here, and I'm really concerned. And I know they say there's a limited amount of life that he has left based on the disease, but I'm hoping he fights it and lives as long as he can, healthfully, and then gets to enjoy lot more years ahead of him.
What was like process where like talk about where we thought we made it?
I did pretty much that. I paused and thought, well, I get it. I understand. I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised, I guess you could say. I know that, there's only so long something can go, and I know that, with Sean's health, it was going to be more difficult. So, wrapping up one last strong season while he was still in good health was important. So I knew that it was the right thing to do. As sad as it was going to be, but we could capture this one last time and remember it like that, and Sean is very determined and strong and a fighter, and he would go until he couldn't go anymore, but nobody wants to see him go through pain, and he'll hide it well. So I'm glad it's coming to an end this way. But now that it's coming to an end, I'm getting all emotional. It's like it's all been built up and it's just coming out. So I'm gonna have to process that a little bit more.
When it was announced that we were wrapping the series, it was not a surprise to me at all. It was sad, of course, but I understood. I mean, we had, given it a shot. Had been pitched before, and the show had been changed. And that was even all before I joined the show. And we pitched again, and then we kind of lost out. And I think most crews would have wrapped after season 2, or maybe season 3 at most, rather than to keep trying. But we were having too much fun doing it, and we knew we put out a good show every time we shot. I mean, we got more efficient as we went along. I mean, we were doing 50 pages a day at one point. I tell that to people, and they're like, "Get out of here! It can't be that good." And I'm like, "Watch the show, and you'll see." But I think that we went for 5 full seasons was a lot longer than I thought most would have. But I was glad, because I mean, I remember we were sitting at lunch one day after a shoot or dinner, and I was always grateful that I finally got to sit at the cool kids table. And then everyone said, "We're not cool." And I'm like, "Hey," but I wasn't, I was still kind of new. But that when it was finally announced that we were gonna stop, I wasn't surprised. It was sad, but I understood why. I mean, Sean wanted to do other things with his life, and I get that, because time is short and fleeting for all of us.
I really thought it would go on longer, but it's ending on maybe this is the time. That's totally fine. It's really sad, because I'm really gonna miss everybody and this fire department, actually. Just like driving in, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see my people today. And that's always it's always sad to have that aspect of your life end, because it takes up a lot of your thought process and your planning, and like, oh, when am I doing this? Oh, this is on the 27th. This is where am I? I gotta print out my script for this, so it becomes part of you, and then it's all of a sudden it's not there anymore. It's almost a mourning period. It's a loss.
So I feel like Paragods is ending on a high note. It reminds me of Breaking Bad. Like, You want to end Breaking Bad, like, it ended so amazing, like, the best possible ending you could ever have or ask for, and that is what Paragods is doing. It's a Breaking Bad. It's the YouTube of Breaking Bad.
I like to call it Law and Order of New Hampshire, because so many people have been on this show, and like Law and Order, it's like a rite of passage. Like when you're on Law and Order, and then you get more projects in New York. It's like when you watch Paragods, it's like, I know that guy, I know that girl, I know this guy, I know that girl, and you know pretty much everybody that's been on this show.
I think if you work in New England, you've been on Paragods at least once.
Yes. But that makes it fun. It's a wonderful variety of people.
And I just want to say thank you so much for watching Paragods, for being supportive of us and all that Sean has tried to accomplish with this show. You've given us a great 5 years, and without you, I would not have gotten to play Dispatcher J and had a sex scene with Christy.
A very PG-13 rated sex scene with no nudity or anything in it.
You know, I'm gonna miss talking to Mike and Doobie about ideas. You know, miss you know, doing the editing with Adam. You know, it's gonna be weird to think that again, Cheryl, who I haven't seen. Cheryl, who I've known for 9 years, we shared a lot together with the movies we made, and it's going to be tough to think that I'm not going to see them next Saturday. I'm going to miss it. I'm probably going to regret ending Paragods. With the little time I do have, you know, I want to do some things that I've never done before.
I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the fans. Thank you to everybody that contributed to the community that lets us use their firehouse. I mean, that's huge. Because they believed in us. And when you look at it from that point of view, it's truly amazing how people can come together and work together, support each other. Family, friends, everybody. Family, friends. You know, we've had premieres at Chunky's before. All the people that showed up, all the people that are excited, being acknowledged and recognized in public at the mall by a stranger while I was with my daughter. That was probably one of the most wonderful moments of my life. It sounds silly, but when somebody you don't even know and says, are you on that show, Paragods? And you're like, you have that moment of like this celebrity feeling kind of thing. You're almost taken back by it. But to have my daughter, which she's also been on the show before too, there to witness it, it was a proud moment, and it was beautiful. But I want to thank everybody. This has been part of my life. I want to say thank you to Sean for taking that chance and bringing me on this journey, all the things we've been through. I'll never forget it.
I just want to say thank you to all 200 plus people that were a part of Paragods. I couldn't have done it without you. To my cast and crew, you are the best. I'm gonna miss you, but you're still gonna be my family. You know, I'm always gonna be there for you guys. and you'll always have a place in my heart. And I miss our Saturdays. But I wish you all the best. Love yous.